What's our time? 56. All right, the meeting for February 26, 2024 is called to order. May I get roll call?
Councilmember Candace Machado.
Here.
Councilmember Daisha Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Greg Lustig.
Here.
Councilmember Phil Gerke.
Here.
County Attorney Scott Murray.
Here.
County Engineer Shane Porter.
Here.
Chief of Police Mike Thompson. Fire Chief, he is here, right? Fire Chief Leo Malsom.
Here.
Public Works Director Robert Llewellyn.
Here.
Town Clerk Janelle Underwood, and rest of citizens.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, so we'll move into the approval of the agenda. One consent agenda. Do I have approval for the consent agenda?
First, I need a motion to approve
Yeah.
the agenda.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would like to make a motion to move line item 1B, to move it down to 11A.
Maybe a second to that.
I second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for regular meeting February 12th, 2024?
I motion.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, line item 2, acceptance of Mayor Chad Edwards' resignation and declare vacancy for the mayor spot.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, line 3, appointment of new mayor and the oath of office. I would like to put my name in for the mayor of the town of Evansville, Candace Machado.
So if anybody would like to support that nomination, they would just make a motion. and second.
I would also like to motion that Candace Machado be appointed mayor.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Should I come down? Or?
Yeah.
Okay. Tearful. I want to get tearful.
So I just need for you to read this out loud, raise your right hand and read it out loud.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
You're good.
I, Candace Machado, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution and laws of the state of Wyoming and the ordinances of the town of Evansville, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of mayor of the town of Evansville with fidelity and to the best of my knowledge and ability, and that I have not paid or promised to pay or contribute either directly or indirectly any money or other valuable things to procure my appointment or election, except for necessary and proper expenses expressly authorized by law, that I have not knowingly violated any election law or the state or procured it to be done by others in my behalf, that I will not knowingly receive directly or indirectly any money or other valuable thing for the performance or non-performance of any act or duty pertaining to my office other than the compensation allowed by law, so help me God. All right, moving forward. Selection of council president, our number 4, selection of council president. I would like to put forth Dacia Edwards' name, as she has been on the council for over 2 years, for council president at this time.
I so move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion
Aye.
passes.
Thank you.
Number 5, declare open council seat and begin process to fill.
Yes, so typically what we've done in the past is we have sent out notices around town, posted on the town's website that we are looking to fill the vacant council seat. This would be to finish out this term. So this seat would be open for election for a 2-year term this fall. And typically we advertise for about a month, and then we take those letters of interest, and then you guys handle your interviews at a council meeting and then select from there.
So then a month from now would be March 26th? Or wait, we have It's a leap year. 25th, because we have
Yeah.
March 25th.
So you want to take letters of interest that Friday before?
I'd say before that, but maybe not, I don't know.
So
You want to,
the 22nd?
So that, I don't know.
you want to take them like the Friday before that even?
So
Yeah.
that would be
No,
March
so-
22nd.
You're the 15th or March 2nd?
March 15th?
Sure.
22nd will give a full 4 weeks, so
with March being a longer month. So I'd move for the 22nd.
You want to do March 22nd? And then have everybody present at the March 25th council meeting for interviews?
Correct.
March 22nd?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
All right. So now
So-
we've.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
go ahead.
yes.
Go ahead.
I guess my only concern is that we can have a chance to read those before, if we don't get them until the 22nd, we do Monday.
That's a good
I
question.
would send them out with your council packet.
So we probably better set a time on the 22nd that they need to be in, so you have time to send them out.
Sure.
Does that make
You
sense?
want to do like 10 a.m. on the 22nd?
Sure. You make it easy on yourself,
Okay.
so that you have time.
All right.
Works?
All right. Number 6, public hearing, Mint Billiards LLC Bar and Grill liquor license.
Madam Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is a application from Mint Billiards for a bar and grill liquor license to operate out of a new building that is currently being constructed at 261 Craig Thomas Boulevard. And their event or their entertainment is going to be pool tables. The application has been submitted to the Wyoming Liquor Division. And the comment that they had, the Wyoming Liquor Division is that the application compared to the lease did not have Mint Billiards LLC. And it's both have to read the same. So Mint Billiards corrected their lease yesterday to read Mint Billiards LLC. The applicant is here tonight. If you have any questions and it's brought before you tonight for approval, I just ask that you open a public hearing and ask for any public comments for or against the issuance of this license.
So we'll go ahead and open up the public comments to the public hearing for the Mint Billiards LLC Bar and Grill liquor license. Do we have any public comments? I know that we have representation here. Hello. Hi, guys. Any comments? Any comments for the gentleman? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing for the liquor license for Mint Billiards LLC.
Any questions for the council? Or?
I think you addressed the only one I had.
I have a question for you. If someone was to rent out your building, are they also renting out, let's say I want to do a wedding reception there. Are they also able to have liquor? Like, let's say if I said, hey, we want to have alcohol there. Is that something that they can do as well? Because they do have a list. They can serve it and sell it because they have their license, correct?
Right, I think that would have to be sold through the bar.
Yeah. Okay.
And that would, the liquor would not be part of the package.
Well, no, never.
But really, at this point, I don't see that happening, just because we're stacking tables in the other side, and not really keeping that open. It's only full board, all four tables.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve the license for the billiards hall.
I'd second the motion.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, line 7, ordinance number 2-2024, and ordinance approving the new Miller Edition Town of Evansville on second reading.
Madam Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is ordinance 2-2024. This is an ordinance approving the new Miller addition to the town of Evansville. This is a portion of land that is being, it was never platted. It was unplatted land. And so this is a small piece of property that is being platted for the cryptocurrency that's in place there right now. Brought before you tonight on second reading.
Just to clarify too, so it's a current, yeah, like as Janelle said, it's currently unplatted property that was annexed into the town 2 or 3 years ago. The portion that's being platted for approval tonight on second reading is a portion of land that's east of Blackmore Road, north of I-25 and south of 2026. And there are two lots that they're platting. One's a large lot, and then the other one's a small lot for the cryptocurrency mining that's currently ongoing.
Any additional questions for our town engineer?
I have not.
I would like to motion to make approval of the new Miller addition.
That's second.
I will second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Line 8. Oh. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion passed. Thank you, Janelle. I'm a first timer up here. It's fine.
That's okay.
All right. Okay. Number 8. Yes. Okay. So ordinance number 3-2024, an ordinance approving the rezone of lot 2 of the new Miller addition from urban agriculture to light industrial here on second reading.
Madam Mayor, Council, brought before you tonight is ordinance 3-2024. This is an ordinance approving the rezone of Lot 2 of the new Miller addition from urban agriculture to light industrial, town of Evansville, Wyoming, brought before you tonight on second reading. And then again, this is all part of that new Miller addition for the cryptocurrency mine and changing it from urban ag to light industrial for the current use that it's under right now. Brought before you tonight on second reading.
Any questions, thoughts, quandaries of the mind? Shane, anything to add?
Nope.
Okay.
I would like to make a motion to rezone the lot number 2 from urban agriculture to light industrial.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, number 9. Authorization for mayor to execute community development block grant agreement.
Madam Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is a community development block grant agreement between the Wyoming Community Development Authority and the town of Evansville. This is a grant agreement that we are presenting for approval for funds that the town will receive. That's $1,068,566. This is for a park that the town is in the process of bringing to light down at the River Park. It's something that we've been working on for about 2 years now. And so we're just asking for approval, authorization for the mayor to execute this grant agreement.
I got it. It's probably not going to be real popular. I think the park is a wonderful idea, and I think the town needs to go ahead with that. However, I think there are some major issues with the location. First of all, the roads in the area are undeveloped. So we're going to have to, down the road sometime, we're going to have to develop that. Okay. Because it's kind of, you could go fishing in some of the potholes there. The second problem that I have is the proximity of the river as a safety thing for kids. The third thing that I have against there is the, and we might as well face it, the migrant situation, the homeless situation. To me, that's just going to be an invitation of a place to stay and to hang out. And I got a problem with that. The other problem that I have is to me, that location is going to be an extra area that's going to have to be patrolled regularly. Okay. And the biggest one for me is that's supposed to be for the kids. And then we're putting the park in a place that you got to drive to. It doesn't make, that to me doesn't make sense. I think we've got other properties that we could put it in where almost everybody from town, if they wanted to, they could walk there. And specifically is what I'm talking about is the property that is between 5th and 6th Street, that big park there. That would be accessible to most of Evansville population. And granted, no matter where you put it, it's not going to be really close to everybody, but I just think it would be a much, much better location for it. And at the last meeting, I had talked about spending money responsibly. And to me, to put that park down there is not doing it responsibly, to me. And like I say, it may not be the most popular decision, but I cannot support that location.
So Shane, I would more so look to you since you're the town engineer and since we've been at this for a while now. I'm wondering what your thoughts are on what Phil's thoughts are, or if you can shed some light on this from your perspective of things.
Yeah, I mean, I can try. It's been under discussion for like a couple of years. The location, I don't remember what all went into the location. It was a lot of discussion with staff and council. There were several public meetings. So there was a lot of discussion that went into that. There wasn't a lot of opposition to that site. It's envisioned as a destination park. So yes, it would take neighborhood kids as well, but it's envisioned as a destination park for anybody in the county would show up at it. So parking was an issue. So in that location, we're putting in, I can't remember exactly. I want to say it's close to 60 parking spots.
There were
to go along
56, if I remember right.
with the park. So that was part of the location discussion, just having the room for that parking. Like I said, it's been in the works for a long time, and
And I appreciate that. And I told you it wasn't going to be very popular, but it's, and I haven't been on the council that long, 5-6 months, but I just, in my mind, I'm sorry, but I just cannot support it. And as far as being a destination, Disneyland's a destination. I don't think that park is a destination. Okay. So that's probably stretching it a little bit, but I think it needs to be more for the people of Evansville. And I'm more concerned about the people of Evansville than I am from people that don't live here. I think we need to take care of our community. And I feel, I'm sorry, but I just feel very strongly about it. And I know there's been a lot of work put into this, and a lot of input put into this, but in my opinion, we need to step back and take a second look. And I know there's been money spent on this, but to me, to throw good money after bad doesn't make any sense.
Councilman Gerke, can I say something on that? So I would like to say that park isn't any farther than the park where we had our 100-year celebration, which is right there on the river's edge. As well as being a person who does use the park with a lot of the foster kids that I have and other small children and my own children in the home, that park would be more up to date. And one of the things that I really would like to see, which is in the plans that for that park, was to have it more handicap accessible versus the two parks that we have now don't have anything that is for people with sensory needs or any that may be handicapped in a wheelchair or on a walker. And I really feel like getting that grant, it has to be a brand new park instead of updating one of the two that we have. With the additional parking that we have and the lighting that's put in, I myself have ventured down to Castle Park that Rotary and some other people put in, and it is a park that is used a lot. And I think of the different businesses that we have here that do have children, that could be on their summer list as a place, a safe place that they're able to take their children. And it's not that bad to put them in the facility van to take them to a decent, clean park, as well as for Chief Thompson and his employees. They're already patrolling our town and keeping it safe. So I don't feel like it would be any more to have them patrol that park, because they patrol our parks that we currently have as well as the town. And I feel like they do it effectively. And even when we added the new road up there on Memorial by the Veteran Cemetery, they patrol that as well. And I don't feel like it's adding any more to keep our town safe and to keep it clean. So I would have to disagree with yours.
Well, I'm not talking about excuse me, I'm not talking about I'm talking about building a new park, not using our existing ones.
Right.
But it's still, you got to drive there, and not everybody has transportation to go there. And it's just, to me, I thought about this for a long time. And Chad and I had some discussions about it, and they were like, kind of like the ones you and I are having. Sorry. Well, talk with my hands too much. But, and I appreciate what you're saying, and I understand that. But this is different than that. And as far as the Castle Park, you're talking about the one at Crossroads, right?
And that's right
Well-
at the river edge as well.
Excuse me, but the point I'm trying to make is the reason that one is so busy is because of the softball parks, the baseball parks, that all of that
Not-
stuff there.
no.
Well,
I would
I
disagree.
We go there because the park is awesome. We go to Castle Park because the
okay, but not everybody has available transportation. It's just,
We can
Okay.
have public comment at the.
Hold
public
on a
comment part.
second.
It just facilitates the
Yeah.
discussion.
Hold on a second. The chief has something that he wants to say because he's been a part of all of these discussions, as I have as well over the last couple of years.
So you can probably blame me for most of all this. That particular park concept came from me. You and I talked about it. The destination portion of this, not to say that some people get out of touch with kids and trends. When I lived in Douglas, Wyoming, I drove to Spearfish, South Dakota because it's similar park. That's 3 hours trip. That's how far we go. This particular engineering outfit that we're using to design this
Specializes that in this particular park takes in a lot of our own Evansville history. So when we say destination, it isn't just Evansville residents, and the councilman over here talked about supporting businesses. That's part of this destination. And there's a movie that I'll quote, it talks about if you build it, they will come. So when we put in these type of facilities, people are going to come, whether it's Evansville residents or not. And part of that selection also dealt with the traffic flow, because if we put it between 5th and 6th, one, you can't accommodate that type of parking, nor do we want, because not everybody will want to go to Casper, to that particular Castle Park. And we're going to start seeing an influx. So when we have school events, college things and that stuff, we don't want that extra traffic flow going through our residential areas. So like the 100-year anniversary, that's part of why we closed that down. So we flowed most of the traffic in and out of the park. And as far as to address the driving to it, most of the kids in our community, some will drive, but a lot of them will ride their bikes. They're going to walk. I mean, when we patrol through there, we see kids on bikes. We see them on walk. They come down through there. And we talked about a long-term projection of upbuilding the park so that at some point when there's home development, getting a water tap and putting in irrigation. So this is one piece of a larger picture that we talked about in the growth of our community. Evansville is small, and so therefore we compete with Casper, we compete with Mills and the other places. But to keep our communities vibrant, you have to look to the future, and we want to entice and have a younger generation here. And that's part of why we picked where we did, is one part of many parts to upbuilding that park. There's no place in Natrona County that has that nice of an area along the river, hence why it went more to the south versus next to the river. So similar to the one in Casper, it's controlled. But as we, the cottonwoods are growing, we have great shade. So, envisioning down the road, putting in an irrigation system, it'll be more, lawn-like in a sense. It's fenced, so therefore parents can control it. We didn't want just a cookie cutter, when you go to your high school or not your high school, but your elementaries with the metal type playgrounds. We wanted something unique to Evansville, and this was the idea of that.
I agree. The park concept is awesome. Okay. The problem I have still is the location. Now, if you wanted to put in a place, something similar to what Washington Park has, with an amphitheater and that type of thing down there, I'd support that. Okay. But I just can't do the other part. And I agree. It needs to be unique. I think I'm worried more, to be honest about it, I worry more about the citizens of Evansville than I do about people that don't live here. I just feel very strong about it. And I'm sure there's enough council members here to support it going through, so they don't need my vote. But I thought I'd be remiss if I didn't state my objections, and I know I'm coming late to the party. If I'd have been here 2 years ago when Daisha and I applied, I probably would have said something then, but but it's okay. I just, when I took this position on the council, I just had always been, I just have to state my opinion and I have to vote my conscience. And to me, the people of Evansville come number one. And I don't, to be honest about it, I don't care about destination. I just don't. We don't have, I don't see where we're going to ever be able to support retail businesses here. It's just not going to happen unless we have a major fire that burns down about half the buildings in town, and then we could maybe look at that. But that's not, I didn't say burn the buildings down now, okay? But unless something major happens along that way. But again, the big problem is the location I'm talking about already has water. There's water there that could be irrigated, and we could make that whole area, if you want to have something for a destination that everybody could do. You got a community garden, thanks to some of our people here that have done an awesome job on that. And this could develop into a real destination spot if you want to talk about destinations. But to me, it's a destination for the citizens of Evansville. But anyway, that's the end of my comments. And I think you probably know how I'm going to vote.
Okay, I appreciate all the input we've heard on the details, design and development of this park. But I would like to get back to the agenda and I'd like to make a motion to authorize the mayor to execute the community development block grant agreement.
And I would like to second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Yes,
nays?
nay.
Motion passes 2-1. Okay. Engineers report.
Hey, good evening, Madam Mayor and Council. The thing I have to present tonight, it's in your packet as well, but if you remember here a few weeks ago or a month or so ago, we rejected all bids for the Lathrop Road Pathway project. So we went back out we reduced the scope of the project, went back out to bid. And the scope of the project as reduced went from Curtis Street up to just before Texas Roadhouse is the scope that we were able to kind of figure we could budget back in. And then we had an add alternate to the bid to get across the frontage of Texas Roadhouse. So on February 14th, we received bids from Crown Construction, 71 Construction, and Knife River Construction for the Lathrop Road Pathway, what we're calling phase 1 now. The total base bids from Crown Construction, 71, and Knife River were $441,040 from Crown Construction, $584,033 from 71 Construction, and $634,620 from Knife River Construction. So as I mentioned, in addition to the base bids, we also requested bid alternates to expand the project further east if possible. The bid alternate from Crown Construction was $120,728.75. So we reviewed all the bids. They all appear correct and responsive. YDOT has also reviewed and agrees. The total budget for construction of this project is $630,000. That's for construction. So with that being the case, we recommend awarding Crown Construction the contract for this project for the base bid amount of $441,000 plus the add alternate amount of $120,728.75 for a total contract award of $561,768.75, which is still roughly $70,000 under the budget we have for construction. So I recommend a motion to have the mayor sign the notice of award and also approve the notice to proceed and the contracts to move forward with Crown Construction. Open to any questions.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
The extension, how far east will that go?
So the ad alternate part,
Ad alternate.
it just gets us, so the first base bid gets us to the Miracle Drive right in front of Texas Roadhouse. The ad alternate gets us past Texas Roadhouse. So it's another 150 feet roughly.
So
And
is
then
this a pathway to nowhere?
it will be for a while. Yep.
What's the plan down the road?
So the plan, okay, yeah, great question. So March 1st, the application's open for the next round of TAP funding. And so the plan forward would be to go back to them for another round of funding, apply for what we would call phase 2 to finish the project, which was originally it was trying to get from Craig Thomas Boulevard to Curtis Street. So the plan would be to move forward with an application to get the rest of that funded. So it would get to Craig Thomas Boulevard, which is right across from the Aspens. The main goal was to get the Aspens.
That's my question is, I'm all for this if we get to the Aspen,
Yeah.
but if we don't get to the Aspen.
That's the main goal. I mean,
I appreciate,
but you got to get, we got to get as much as we can with the funding we have.
No, I
right
understand.
now. And it still gets, Mike can testify to this, that the Aspen kids are walking through, they're still going to get there. We're going to have at least some room for them to walk. And it actually strengthens our next round of funding. If we come in and we show that we've got phase 1 done, it strengthens your application for that phase 2. So
Is phase 1 part of the TAP grant as well?
phase 1 is a TAP grant.
And
Yep.
we have a town match on that?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
a 90-10, so 90% grant, 10% match of that. Total budget is 750,000, so the town's 10% match is 70,000.
so do you have a rough idea to get to the Aspen, what that costs?
We do. We had that original estimate and we have the original bids, but we'll have a good,
Ballpark.
off the top of my head, from what I can remember, probably another 400,000 to 500,000.
So it should be doable.
It should.
Okay.
And we'll need to talk before that application, whether if we want to go any further, we need to talk about that full extent of that next phase. Originally, it was just to Craig Thomas, but we can talk about whether we want to try to get further with it. The higher the dollar amount, sometimes the less likely to get funded because there's a lot of competition for these grants. So we got to come in with a strategy on what the next phase looks like.
Do you have a thought?
Yes, Ms. Mayor. Addressing that, it isn't just about the Aspens. So that particular stretch of road, we have the 3 different motels on there. We actually have quite a few residents from down here that travel up there. And so when you drive there, you'll see these worn dirt paths on either side. The other part is because of the traffic, so it benefits all the Evansville residents because we have one guy, he literally hauls his wagon up there. When we have all the high school kids and elementary and all the people that stay there, they tend to cross and walk through there. So it enhances our safety factor plus the appearance of the town as a whole, because especially in the wintertime, because nobody wants to walk in the slush. So if we've got a nice path, it'll be easier. So beyond just the Aspens, it is a good project.
No, I appreciate that. I just wanted to make sure we weren't like stopping in the middle of nowhere, and that's. Has anybody ever had a talk with you? I'm sorry.
Just need a motion.
I so moved it.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes.
Yes.
Yes.
We did it.
Yeah, I did it. Was I supposed to do it again?
I missed it.
Oh, okay, sorry. All right. So number 11, council,
Is that all of the engineer's report?
That's all I have.
sorry, Shane.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the engineer's report.
I move.
Second? Or, oh, go ahead. You gonna second or first, or what are you gonna do?
I'll take second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion passes. Sorry, Shane, I jumped the gun. All right. All right, item 11, council updates. So we moved item 1B for the approval of daycare licenses, CARES, Kids Campus, Imagination, is it all one word?
Imagination Station.
Imagination Station and Wonderfully Made Childcare. We moved that down to council updates. Do we want to open it up for thoughts?
So, Madam Mayor and Council, before you tonight is the childcare, daycare licenses that's presented for approval tonight. All the applications have been filled out, turned in, along with copies of the fire inspections that each of the facilities have passed. There's no issues with those, along with copies of their licenses. So it's just presented to you tonight for approval.
Okay, and I know that we have several people in the audience as well. Can we open it up for public comment? Because I know there's several people here.
Yes.
Okay, if you'd like to come on up. If you can go ahead and state your name and who you are.
My name's Alejandra Rogi. I am a parent of two children who used to attend CARES Kids Campus. They started attending there in 2016. I pulled them out in June of 2023. I completely disagree with renewing the licensing for this facility, as it is a danger to our children. I pulled my children out. I put the 2-week notice to pull my children out for the last day to be 2 days before I ended up pulling them out, because they were changing director after director after director. The 3 directors that were in line before I finally had enough didn't have any knowledge of my children's asthma, resulting in asthma attacks, resulting in having to use steroid medication because they were not being treated with their asthma action plan that was provided, as well as using the excuses that previous staff locked up all of the medications, so they were unable to retrieve the medications for my children that are life-saving medications. And then the last instance where I finally had enough was my 18-month-old at the time got a concussion from the center. I reported this. It was not reported to me. She ended up having erratic breathing is what they had defined it as when they noticed that she was throwing a fit. She has asthma, so she turned into what I believe was an asthma attack, although I wasn't notified to be able to make that to be able to know if that was exactly true. It was notified to the business manager of Casper Housing Authority that my daughter was erratically breathing and that she had fallen and they thought she hit her head. They had no idea what was going on. They didn't give me any information on it. I was called by the business manager of Casper Housing Authority, which was not in any point of contact in my children's care. Because she was considered grandma, but that did not mean she was mother. That did not mean she was father, and we were not notified. I was called by the business manager who had told me this. I raced there to where I found that my daughter was gazing to the side and she was not responding to me. Brought her to her doctor and they confirmed that she did have a mild concussion. I was unable to get the information on exactly what had occurred, but I did look at the after I had reported it to DFS, and it was founded in that day. I can't specify at that time that they were out of code. The teachers, and one of the teachers in the room that was specific to hers was not up to date on their CPR or background check. And at that point, I knew that it was time for us to go. And so I do not agree with this. I think that this daycare center is completely unsafe, whereas another parent had reported this last week that their 2-year-old had walked straight out of the building and a passerby had found her walking outside on the street where there is a highway a block away. and she was not notified. Instead, there was a mass text sent out to staff that says, if this is discussed, you will be terminated by Kids Campus. I believe that that is incredibly unsafe. I have documentation to prove all of everything that I am saying, as it is not unfounded, and I would really appreciate if you would like to take into consideration my words. Thank you.
Do you by chance, dear?
Oh, absolutely.
You're fine, sweetheart. Do you by chance have that documentation with you tonight?
Which documentation are you
The
referring to?
documentation that you were just speaking about, that you have documentation to support.
The mass text, I have it right on my phone. I can bring it up to you to show you. It is from the phone number of the center director that is current. Her name is Megan Jones, and I have that text I can show you right now. I do have documentation. I don't have the medical record documentation with me, as I was actually just notified this 2 days ago and I didn't have enough time to get the medical records, but I'd be more than happy to present that if we need to at a later time, as well as documentation of no knowledge of my daughter's medications, them saying that the medications were locked up. I have all of these messages in my phone, although I apologize, I do not have all of them handy, but I can get them all handy if we can move forward, maybe move this down a later date.
So, excuse me,
Absolutely.
have you reported this to DFS?
I reported it to DFS, yes, and it has been reported to Evansville Police Department. I'm not sure exactly which side it is on, but it has been reported several times. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Every instance, yes.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any additional questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Is there anyone else in the audience who would like to come up and speak on this? Anyone else in the audience that would like to come up and speak to this? Yes, ma'am, if you'll state your name and who you are.
My name is Kim Summerall Wright. I'm the executive director of the Casper Housing Authority and the chief executive officer of Casper Housing Cares. We own the Kids Campus Child Care Center. I'm a little bit surprised at the people that showed up. This is a lot of exciting information. There is nothing that happens at Kids Campus that is not reported to and investigated by DFS. So the allegations that you just heard have already been investigated and put to bed. We spend all of our time dealing with federal regulations and state regulations, and so we don't do anything unless someone looks it over to make sure that it's taken care of and it is handled. So we're more than happy to have you come over. We don't have anything to hide. What we are trying to deal with right now is a personal vendetta by a former employee and parent.
And just so I can clarify, and Chief, you correct me if I'm wrong, because I want to be radically transparent in this discussion. So how many violations has the daycare had in the last year?
I can't tell you off the top of my head. We've had a lot of reports, mostly from staff. We are a training facility, and so the difference between a for-profit daycare and a non-profit daycare, a for-profit daycare is, the executive director is the owner. The people that work there are generally family or extended family. We are a non-profit daycare, which means that we have to go out and find someone that we have to bring in who is going to be our provider. There are not a lot of those type of people wandering around because they own their own centers, right? And so a lot of times we have to bring someone in and train them up. We are also required by the Department of Housing and Urban Development that 30% of the staff that we hire must be low or extremely low income, and that is for employment purposes. So we've used our center as a training facility. And so we've had staff that came in and we've had some success when we help them get their CBA or their toddler credential and different things like that. But then we have also had some staff that didn't work out. And so when that happens, they usually report us for something. There's usually a list of things that they are disgruntled about, having to come to work being one of them. A lot of things like that happen. And so we are a training facility, and so that is something that we do.
And so just to clarify, because my question wasn't actually answered, how many violations have you had in the last year?
We have had some that are unfounded. We've had a lot of reports, but I don't know off the top of my head exactly.
Chief, can you answer that question for me?
I can.
Thank you.
So in talking with DFS, as this came to light today, they directed me to a website that they manage. And when you go onto the website, there's 13 listed for the 2023 year. That does not include unsubstantiated or current investigated cases. So what's listed on there, when you click on the thing that says violations, that is what they have found in is there. If you go into the website, you can click on every daycare facility within the county that they manage on their end, and every one of them has the same information when you click on it.
And the violations that are there, are they, just so there is transparency, are the violations for safety or are the violations for something beyond safety?
A little bit of both. I didn't print every single one of them. There was one that would be on what we call safety issue. It talks about RSV exposure, and the parents weren't notified by the facility. This one is dated 2/16/24, so it's this year current. And there's other ones that are more administrative based. There was one that talked about, and I don't understand all the regulations of DFS, so I just click on the link as far as reports that are there. But there was an employee that you have so many days that when you're employed to go through certain training, and until you're through the training, evidently they're not supposed to be left alone with the kids. That was another one. I think Janelle also looked at some of these as well. So I would say the majority looked to be more administrative based, but there were a couple with some safety stuff.
If I may respond to the RSV, that came in on a Friday night. When we got the report, it was late at night. And there was only one other child in there, and the director forgot, so that was a substantiation. And she forgot on Monday to tell the one that had been here.
And so what certifications do the employees over there, what certifications do they have since they're a training facility?
So there's basic requirements by DFS. There's a list of 12 different training modules that they have to go through. They have CPR first aid. And then our management team has their CDA, so their all of their certificates there. We have infant toddler credentials, and we have a couple of bachelor's degrees in education.
Questions from other council members?
I just got a quick one. So there's a difference between reports and incidences, or the ones that show up on there?
Yeah,
Is that correct?
Yeah, so on the DFS one's website,
Right.
from their management side of this, when you go in, it's open source, it's open to public information, because a lot of say that stuff dealing with juveniles is super secret typically. So if it's listed on there, what they told me, it's a substantiated complaint on there. If it is not on the website, then it's either been unsubstantiated, so basically it's not valid, or if it's a pending investigation, obviously they don't put it on. Okay. So as an example, the issue with the kid last week we responded to that we spoke about earlier,
Nobody called law enforcement and says, hey, we got a missing kid. So as an example, when the school has a kid that runs away, we're the first phone call that says, hey, we got a kid that ran away. So where they're at with that, you won't see that on the website because it's current pending with them. Now, we have a report, but we're not investigating that because it's more of a DFS related thing.
So has DFS ever taken any disciplinary action?
No.
So by and large, these are DFS violations, correct?
Mm-hmm. Anytime there's a report or an allegation or anything like that, DFS is required by state statute to come to our facility and check it out. and see what's going on. It doesn't matter whether it doesn't matter what they are, what they look like, what someone comes up with, it just doesn't matter. They come and do it. So we are regulated. Fire department also inspects, health equipment inspects as well. And we just went through our renewal about a month ago. That's why we're here. We just finished our renewal. And so everything's been inspected. We passed everything.
Then
And
this will be more toward the chief maybe, but have any of the other locations, have they had any complaints or any reports or anything?
If you go into the website, which is
Uh-huh.
open source, and click on them, there's several, the one across the road, we had 2 last year. There's one over,
Mhm.
0. And just because I knew it was going to be a discussion, I clicked on some of the passwords. So they're typically not more than 3 in a year is what the ones I clicked on. A lot were 0, some had 1. This particular entity that we're talking about, so in 2023 at 13, in 2022 it shows 3, in 21 3, and in 2020 it's 2, and 2019 at 1.
So Chief,
And Chief Mawson, I would like to say there wasn't any issues with your compliance, correct? That's correct, right?
From the fire department standpoint, for fire and life and safety protection, everything was up to date.
Thank you.
So as far as the township is concerned, we got passing fire inspection. We have our police records and calls for that. I just thinking it's wrong agency with these violations. They're coming after the town. DFS, from what I'm gathering, should be the heavy in this.
Yeah.
So I don't want to overstep what the town is to be doing. So, I'd like to hear more.
so I do have a question. So the current issue that the chief spoke about, do you have understanding of that current issue and understanding why that situation occurred? Because I will be fully honest and transparent with you that is a concern for me. Just hearing that and being a person that does not have a child in that facility, that is at least a concern on my end. That how does that happen in your facility? Because that is a serious situation.
It is. It is.
And I want to make sure that whatever is voted on, that you hear me saying that that's a serious situation, and I need to have understanding why something like that would occur under your staff's watch. I don't have understanding of that, so I need clarification on that understanding.
And to be very careful because we are working through it right now with DFS.
Yes.
If you would imagine a child, well, first off, that was an employee's child who is very familiar with the center and going in and out because they're there late at night. And so there's a lot of that kind of thing going on. The incident lasted 1.5 minutes before they literally walked down the front of the building, turned the corner, and they grabbed him right there. So it wasn't like what you just heard.
In light of that situation, if you can, do you know if you guys have put any protocols or anything in place to rectify that an incident like that could happen?
Yes, it had never happened before, and so it was a surprise to us. We didn't realize that it wasn't fire door. It was not a small door. So what we did that evening, as soon as this happened, we notified DFS right away, and I do have the full information that went out to the staff that said DFS has been notified and will be on site tomorrow morning. That evening, we put an alarm on that particular door, and then we have ordered alarms for the rest of the doors. It is a DFS requirement. The building is sprinkled, but it is also a requirement that there are so many fire doors throughout the building. And so those doors have to be there and they have to be able to be open,
but generally it's by staff, not by children. But we went the extra, we went the extra mile, and we're putting those alarms. And so when it does open, the alarm goes off throughout the whole center. So we did that right away, that same day.
Any additional thoughts? Conversation?
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I appreciate it.
I guess the one comment I can make right now is that it seems to me that this is probably a recognition that this is a real issue. As long as they are licensed and are not prohibited.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And I appreciate all the
Yeah.
volunteers.
Absolutely.
Because, and I understand your concern.
Oh,
I
definitely.
appreciate it, but I'm not sure we're the proper place to be doing that. We don't have the expertise. I don't anyway, maybe you guys do, but I don't. And, but DFS is their rules.
And so just to kind of go off on that, Scott, I would look to you as the town attorney. What would be our position from a town standpoint on, is this a DFS issue or is this a town issue? I was wondering if you could publicly speak on that for a second.
I haven't had the chance to do any sort of significant research on the topic. I know that under the town code, under the business licensing section, there doesn't appear to be any specific provisions relating to childcare facilities. That is, anything that there would be in the town code would be superseded by state statute. So state statute provides for the regulation of these types of entities, and the Department of Family Services has their own rules and regulations regarding how these facilities are to be operated, what types of requirements go into the licensure for the facilities, and also what goes into revoking those types of licenses. So the town doesn't have anything specific relating to these kinds of facilities. The town just reviews a business license to see whether or not it meets the requirements of the application in order to be able to do business within the town.
Any other thoughts?
Just one more quick question. So basically, to me is what it comes down to, maybe I'm oversimplifying this, but if somebody comes in and they've got a construction company and they provide us the proper documentation, proper insurance and whatnot, we don't go back and see how many complaints they've had. It's really not our responsibility, correct? Is that correct? Basically.
Right. I mean,
It's simplified, but it's basic.
there's no obligation on the town to be that enforcing mechanism. That's what the
That
state
would be up to
agencies are for.
licensing. If they're an electrician, and it would be their licensing board or whatever that would be responsible for that. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So then, Scott, initially the concern would be more landing on DFS than it would the town of Evansville.
Right.
Is that what I hear
Certainly
you
a
saying?
place to
Okay.
address that concern and make the town aware of it.
Sure.
But I can't give, them legal advice, of course, on where to voice those concerns, but I think that it does appear to me that the Department of Family Services is the entity that would be in a better position to do something about it.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to answer your question. There's 14 findings of non-compliance since March of 2023 for kids campus, which is significant compared to any of the other daycares that I've looked at. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other public comments regarding this discussion? Last chance for public comments. Question.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah, that's a question for DFS.
Difference of just like 340 and then the 13 is a massive difference. That's why I'm just curious, at what point do they have so many violations that it's old or?
Yeah.
That's what I'm like, man, I got questions. I don't got kids there, but man, I got all sorts of questions.
Questions are good. Questions help us to understand. So right now, from a town standpoint, we are looking at approving the license for Cares Kid Campus, Imagination Station, and Wonderfully Made Childcare. Do just for that, because of what our attorney had said, do we have a motion to approve the license?
I move.
I'm gonna second this, but I got just one kind of sort of comment. Is there a way that we can let DFS know that we had citizens that had concerns? And I'm sure they know, but I mean, that we, you know, I would just kind of like to see us maybe do that. I mean, I as I mentioned before, I mean, I appreciate the issues from both sides. And if they were my kids, I'm gonna protect my kids, you know. By the same token, if it's my business, I'm gonna protect my business. You know, so, I mean, I understand both sides of it, but I just think that we maybe need to make DFS just at least know that we've had some concerns. Does that make sense? Yeah.
So then do we want to go forward with the motion to approve, or do we want to table this discussion until after we talk to DFS?
I mean, I guess from my perspective, I'm not sure if you are wanting to inform DFS that there are concerns. The reports that I believe the chief is talking about
Are from DFS.
are from
Or from
DFS,
Yeah, just-
right?
And I guess my thing is that we approve them, and then we can just let DFS know that, hey, you know, parents here, blah, 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 you know, just something along those lines.
Could-
So that DFS knows
Just knows that there's been,
everybody knows.
yeah, because part of it, they got to be able to. Right?
When does their current license expire?
Tonight.
Do we issue a conditional use or temporary or probationary? Is that something within the town's ability?
My question is let's say that all their paperwork is in place via DFS or whatever, and all inspections have been gone through. My thought is if DFS says, hey, you're good, sounds great. I mean, as long as you have your license renewed, then you're free to do business. Is that not correct, Mr. Emery?
Don't you?
So, I
I
mean,
mean, it's kind of out of our purview, you know, we can't.
I understand.
Say that one more time.
The town can,
So if we went ahead, I was wondering of Greg's thoughts, if we approve the license, but we put a contingency in there that we reevaluate it in 3 months, 6 months.
could you just say in contingency with DFS's approval? Or no?
Well, we can always go back, can't we? We can always go back and rescind their license. We don't, it's not like it's good forever, right?
And their license is contingent upon DFS.
Correct. It's contingent on us approving it.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're kind of caught in the middle.
So we could approve it with a contingency that we relook at it again in 3 months or 6 months.
I mean, we're kind of getting on this borderline where council asking me for legal advice, which, you know, we're talking about people going into executive session.
Yes.
That's right.
Okay.
So I don't know the answer to that question without legally-
Looking into
Ken?
Okay.
Candace, how about if we just approve it? Okay, we approve it, we can always come back and visit it at a later date.
Okay.
And, right?
So under.
Because there's nothing
Yeah.
saying that it's good for, it just comes up for renewal in a year, but that doesn't mean it's good forever.
Under the town code section 22-2-12, governing body may suspend or revoke any business or occupational license if the licensee fails or refuses to comply with the provisions of this code or other ordinances of the town under which such license is issued, provided that such suspension or revocation shall not bar the imposition of the penalties provided for a violation of this code or other ordinances. So, yeah, you can come back.
So do I have a motion to approve the business license for CARES Kids Campus, Imagination Station, and Wonderfully Made Childcare?
So Greg made a motion.
No, I've seconded it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Public comments, or I take a step back. Are there any other council updates? Public comments, I'm going to publicly comment on myself. Are there any other council updates?
I have none.
Council updates.
I just got one. Congratulations.
Thank you,
And
sir.
I'm sure you will do a great job.
Working on it.
And anything that you could ever need help with, I am available.
Wonderful.
I know I'm a little hard to get along with once in a while, but I try to smile when I'm doing it, so.
Thank you. I would just like to give an update. Greg and I and the chief and Janelle went to the WHAM conference last week. The Wyoming Association of Municipalities is a really long word. And we had lots of good talks and good discussions, and we were educated in a lot of different areas, and we're going to continue to work very hard at moving everything forward. And I would also like to say congratulations to Daisha Edwards for council presidency, as she has sat next to me for the last several years on council. So with that being said, public comments. Any additional public comments out there in the audience? Yes, sir.
Porter Ramsey, Vice President of the 5348. We just wanted to extend thanks to former Mayor Edwards on a lot of what he's done in the relationship we have. Also congratulate you on your great appointment. And we look forward to keep working together towards making Evansville one.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to say congratulations, Madam Mayor. And I know that you will do great work. And I know that you're already hitting the ground running, learning on your on your feet. And I look forward to working alongside with you to help our town go leaps and bounds from where it's been.
Thank you.
I'd like to take this opportunity to also congratulate Madam President and Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, and President of Council.
Careful how you
The
say that.
madams.
Yes, we've talked extensively the direction of this town, and we're all on the same page. So, gonna hit it running. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Congratulations to both of you. I think this is great. You guys are up here and you're doing it, and more women on this is an awesome thing. Love to see it. I was wondering, say in 3 months, how would we put that back on the thing of just going, hey, can we revisit this in say 3 months? Do they need to come in and ask for it to be revisited, or are we just going to take it upon yourselves to do it? Just kind of more of a, for these women's peace of mind of timelines? Like, should they come back in and be like, hey, in 3 months, like, I'd like to revisit and see how many more violations, how many of this, how many of that, of what's going on, kind of a thing? Of how would that?
That's a wonderful question.
Yes, that's where I was just curious if it's one of those that as council putting it forward, or should we have these ladies come back in 3 months and put it in the public comment of like, we'd like this on the agenda again? Yeah, I wasn't sure. There was a lot of talks. I wasn't sure exactly how.
I guess, in my opinion, that some of it depends on what kind of feedback we can get from DFS.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I was wanted to give it more of a peace of mind because.
If they want to come back every 2 years,
Yeah,
they're right.
absolutely. Absolutely. That's where I just wanted to come up and ask specifics of like if them or you guys or how that would work exactly.
I'm just glad we finally found something that brought a lot of people.
I thought it was great. I came in, I was like, we have people here. This is awesome. So, but congratulations again, both of you.
Any additional public comments? All right, thank you all for attending.
I would like to motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We will adjourn the meeting at 8:13 p.m.